No, for video stuff it's not the best, but for photography. Oh, there we go. Cut.
Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto and I'm a photographer. And today again I'm with Aleksi. He's quickly becoming a regular guest on my channel. I'll put his Instagram on the screen here, please check it out. And today we have another special guest, and that is the Sony A7IV and also the 70-200 and some other lenses. And we're gonna take a photo walk with the Sony, but please don't expect any kind of a full review because we only had the camera for a very short time, because this is the only camera in the country at the moment. But the guys at Sony were so cool that they let us borrow the camera for one day. Big thanks to them. And now let's check out the camera.
Let's do it.
We decided to skip the walking part outside because it's so darn cold out there, and now we are sitting here in this nice cafe that Aleksi found. The glass, so if you are in the area in Helsinki downtown, please check this place out. They were very kind and let us film here without any more questions asked.
After we got kicked out of the previous place.
My first impressions on any new camera pretty much these days concentrate on the video features.
That's interesting. I've always known you as a photographer, not a videographer.
Yes, but these days because I make these YouTube videos all the time, all the photography related features are already kind of invented, and they are there already in almost every camera.
Yeah, and especially if you don't do any kind of specialized photography like sports or wildlife, basically with autofocus and the other capabilities, we are already there.
I was really happy to see that this new Sony A7 Mark IV has totally separate settings for both video and photography. So when I turn the switch to video mode, I get all the ISO, shutter speed, white balance, and everything are totally separated from the photo side. And when I go back to the photo mode, I get the settings that I had when I, left the photo mode and went to video. And that is very important because usually or almost every time when you shoot video, you need totally different settings than if you would take photographs.
Yeah, that's always on older cameras where the video features were more of an afterthought. It was always a bit of a hassle, because whenever you change something, it changed for one and at the same time for the other. Lately I've been doing a little bit more video stuff also. I recently shot a music video for a friend, and also starting to need more video features every now and then, even though I don't consider myself a video guy. But I guess it's the future, is that you do a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think there are still so many photographers who really like to dismiss the video features. But when you only look at the YouTube, there are so many millions of people making videos these days. So the video features are really important I think there are probably more video creators today than photo creators.
Yeah, and it seems to be that many photographers also are shifting somehow to creating more video content, whether it's YouTubing or for
Look at me.
Clients like you, for example.
And then another video-related feature, I think it's video-related, is this flippy screen, which I like for video. I think for photography I would prefer the normal tilt screen, but I think if you make any kind of YouTube style videos, vlogging, whatever, the flippy screen, totally fully articulating screen, it's a must.
My favorite is the two-way tilt up and down, like my XH1. The Fuji has one that tilts both ways. It's not a fully flippy kind of screen, but it articulates in both directions.
And that's also a very good solution, but it can't do this.
No, for video stuff it's not the best, but for photography. Oh, there we go. Cut.
Oh wow, luckily the camera is not harmed. I didn't pour the coffee on the camera.
Sony, you can still trust Matti with cameras.
All right, now I have a new coffee.
Very good. And everything's safe, all the equipment.
Yes, so far.
So far. Anything can still happen.
One of the new features that I like is the new shutter that closes whenever you power off the camera.
It's a good feature. I like that when I was testing the Canon R and it had that feature.
Yeah, I think it's really nice. I'm not sure how well it protects the sensor from the dust, because if there's dust on the shutter and then the shutter flips up and down, it's gonna end up on the sensor, but still it's a little bit of extra protection anyway.
Yeah, I think in certain circumstances that might be a handy feature. Just have to be careful not to then damage the shutter itself, because that's a little bit of dust on the sensor is not a problem, but damaging the shutter is a bigger problem.
That's what I was joking about with the Sony guys, that now you can poke your finger in here and break the shutter instead of getting fingerprints on the sensor.
Right.
But all in all, I think this is a good feature. It's
a good feature. I think it's a welcome feature for sure.
Let's stick with the video features for a couple more moments. One of the new kind of cool feature is the focus breathing compensation, or whatever it's called in the menu. I don't remember it exactly. But anyway, it compensates for the focus breathing of the lens when you do focus pulls in video. And I think it's really nice if you think that the focus breathing is distracting. It's not always, but sometimes it can be.
I think it's a great workaround, because usually you have to make a big step up to expensive cinema lenses to have them be parfocal without any focus breathing. So to have it be done in software, so I think it's quite a good innovation, I would say.
Yes, yeah, there is a small crop, but if you can accept that, as you can see in these clips that I shot at my office, it's quite acceptable and it removes the focus breathing quite effectively.
How big is the crop?
I didn't measure, but you can see it. You can see it in
but
these
minor
clips.
Anyway, nothing like
nothing major, but it's there.
Okay.
But there is also a new menu system on this camera.
Right, yeah.
You had something to say about that.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about that, because I feel that people are always talking about the Sony menus.
But they are a mess.
And menus in general, but I feel every camera maker's menu is a mess if you're not used to it. So all you have to do is spend a couple of weeks, take 2 evenings, go through them, memorize them, job done.
Yeah, okay, I agree. When you are an owner, user, you get used to it, but the old Sony menu system, it is a mess compared to some other...
It is a mess in the sense that there's certain logic is lacking in it. But I think I've just gotten so used to it that I don't think about it anymore.
I feel that whenever they had the meeting, what to put in the menus, and then somebody suggested something and someone suggested something, they ended up putting them in that order in the menu.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit like that. Yeah. I'm not denying that the menu is not very logical, but I also say that just to learn it, forget about it, use your camera, take photos.
But now you tried this, how do you think about it?
What I look at it a little bit, it seems really well organized, and the fact that it's a touch menu like Canons have been for a long time, I think it's a big improvement, definitely.
And another new user interface related feature is the exposure compensation dial, which is not a compensation dial anymore. It's just a dial that you can...
It can be.
It can be, but it can be reprogrammed, and it can be locked so you don't accidentally move it. And I think this is a really nice feature.
I like it. I definitely like that you can decide what to use it for.
And we also have this new 70-200 f2.8 here, which is also very interesting, and it's really lightweight, and I think this combo is super like lightweight, and I don't know if you can call it compact, but at least it's lightweight for what it is. And you, Alex, you like to use long lenses. How do you like this so far?
Yes. I like compression in photography. That's kind of my thing often.
Yeah, you have a lot of really cool compressed pictures on your Instagram.
Yeah, I find it's an interesting way to bring things together that normally we kind of miss with the naked eye. Things like that.
So how is this?
Yeah.
Would you be happy to use this?
I think I would be very happy to use this. So you can leave it with me. It really does feel light. I'm not sure if it's even lighter than the F4 older F4 version that
I
I
haven't
used
compared,
to use.
but it's really lightweight for what it is, because usually these 70-200 f2.8 lenses are kind of heavy and big, and when you remove the
hood, yeah.
the hood, it's not actually that big.
It really isn't very big. I think it feels like a very manageable size, very manageable weight.
Yeah. Sony also claims there's a new, more effective stabilizer in this camera body, and I'd like to see if it's good for vlogging.
That's interesting to see.
Yes, because I think I happen to have the 20mm Sony lens here, 20mm f1.8, and we're gonna try that. Sony stabilizer, based on my experience, have never been really effective. I mean, they are helpful, but not as good as on some other cameras.
Yeah, definitely. They were quite pioneering in starting to have them in full frame sensors to begin
Yes.
with. Like even, I think my A7R2 was one of the first to have a
Yes,
stabilizer
and
at all, but it's maybe good for two
They had
stops, 2.5
in-body
stops.
stabilizer also in some of the A-series cameras.
They did?
Yes, I think, if I'm not correct, if I'm wrong, I think what was it, 800, 900, one of the quite high megapixel DSLRs.
You're right. They had steady
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
A900 and A850.
Yes.
A850, I think those had.
Am I overexposing? I don't think so. How's the stabilizing?
Hard to say from here. Interesting to see.
It's really hard to say, but it can find my face and it recognizes me as a human. I think that's
human. Now let's try animal IF. Seems to work.
Yeah. Now I have the normal stabilizing mode on, but let me turn on the active mode and see if that's any different. All right, now I have the active mode activated. There's definitely a crop in the video, but I'm not sure if that's significant or not. And if the footage is a lot more stable, then I think it's a big advantage to pick the lens and show it to the camera, see
Now
what the autofocus is doing.
Now we're in.
Are you in the frame?
I
Can't see.
I'm in the frame, yeah. Let's try. It's sticking to my eye.
Yeah, so I think this could work as I'm looking at the screen because I want to see what the screen is or the camera is doing. I think this could work as a vlogging camera as well, if you want to carry such a big camera for vlogging.
I'm such a rookie with videos that I always keep staring into the screen and then it looks weird.
Some of you are probably wondering about the image quality because there is a new sensor here.
Do people still wonder about image quality these days? It's all good, right?
I guess so, but I believe that many people really would like to know if it's any better than the old one or something. And there's a minor like a resolution increase also because this one has 33 megapixels.
Yeah, I mean I'm kind of joking. It is a new sensor, so it will be interesting to see how it performs.
However, now so far we can only open the JPEGs, and I think JPEGs are not the right way to evaluate the image quality, so we are not going into that in this video. Maybe later when we can open the raw files, then we can look at, and I'm sure there will be soon many videos here on YouTube, pixel peeping enough so you can find out about the image quality, but I'm pretty confident saying that it's going to be good enough.
It's going to be good enough for all your and my selfies.
Yes. And then one more thing about the camera in general. Sony claims there is the same exact processor as in their flagship model A1.
Some people have called this kind of the mini A1.
I can feel the fast processor when I'm moving the dials because in pretty much every Sony camera there is like a minor 0.0 second lag when you turn the dials, and the values are not changing in real time.
Tell me about it. A7R2, I remind you.
But on this one I can't see that. I think it's pretty much real time. But I'd still like to criticize this a little bit, because if this has all the processing power of the A1, I'm still wondering why Sony was not brave enough to put a fast enough sensor here so that I could shoot 4K 50 or 60p on a full sensor. Now I have to go to the APS-C crop in order to shoot 4K 50 or 60p.
Could be intentional, or
I'm sure it's intentional, because they didn't want to cannibalize any of the upper range models, but still, I mean, because they are talking so much about the sensor, and if this has all the processing power, I think they could have kind of used it more. I think so.
Right, yeah. I'll suspend judgment on that because I'm not the video guy, but I think it sounds sensible what you're saying.
Yeah, but I also heard, I haven't tried it so far, but I also hear that the buffer is really like deep. If you shoot like continuous shooting, maximum speed, you can shoot like 1,000 pictures in the buffer, and it clears very fast. If you have a fast card, it clears almost immediately, and that is also, I think, very important for sports or wildlife shooters or so. It's not important for me, but
recently I tried out shooting a little bit of sports, not in a professional scenario, but just out of curiosity at the football field, and I was using a camera that could shoot 24 frames per second with AF, and it's quite amazing where we are at this point when it comes to, you know, buffer, AF speed, and the possibilities that you have for that kind of shooting. You know, just once again going back in time, always have to go back in time when you would shoot sports with something like a film camera.
Oh yes.
You would pre-focus and then you would wait for the peak moment to happen. Maybe you had a burst of 2 or 3 maximum, you know, so you wouldn't burn through your whole roll of film, but you know.
And you also had to figure out the right moment to reload your camera.
Exactly, you were always keeping that in mind somehow. When there is the kind of lull in the action, that to get out your films and quickly switch and so on.
Yes, but I think we have covered pretty much now what we had to cover with this new camera. I hope you guys got something out of this. And I'm sorry we can't go any deeper into this right now, because we've only had this camera literally for some hours, and I have to return this later today.
Oh, I can't have it.
No, not this one. Anyway, thanks guys for joining in, and see you in the next one.
See you.